Welcome to your overview of the 2021 Employee Handbook. Today I'll go over just some things that HR wanted to be sure that we pointed out in the Employee Handbook for this year. The first thing is notice that our Board of Trustees are on page 7. We also have CISD early release days in the handbook. Notice that elementary and middle school are not a part of it for the second semester. This is just our hours of operation for this year. Our learners go to school at middle school from 8:10 to 3:35, and our staff is present from 7:30 to 4 to accommodate our new schedule with COVID. Just to let you know, there is an attendance incentive for full-time employees who do not use any of their state personal or state local days. There's a $500 incentive. If you use 2 days or less, there's a $200 incentive. Another bonus of being an employee of CISD is your children may attend CISD schools. So the guidelines for that are outlined on page 16. Your monthly payroll calendar is also located in the handbook so that you know when to anticipate your paycheck. Complaints and grievances. A part of our policy is to make sure that you start first at the campus level discussing your concerns or complaints. And you can do that with your supervisor at any time. Based on the outcome of that, we do have a form available for you to submit to the Human Resources Department if you feel like your issue is not getting resolved. And that form can be obtained through our Human Resource Department. We do have a plan for bloodborne pathogen exposure control. You attended a compliance course on that through our Schoology course. And the district supports the practice of breastfeeding. So if you find yourself in that situation, please contact an administrator to give you an area that you are able to do that. We do have a responsible use of technology resources for educators. There's lots of detailed outline here. The main points is that your technology is to be used for educational and administrative purposes only. And just realize that you'll be financially responsible for any damages resulting in negligence. New to our handbook this year is crowdfunding. So in the past, we were not able to use things like Amazon Teacher List or any sort of fundraising outside of Ed Foundation and PTO grants. This year, that's changed to where we are partnering with Donors Choose. So the only district-approved website for crowdfunding is Donors Choose. I did put that information in some earlier Cougar Connect newsletters, so please let me know if you need that information again. Other than that, we are not able to do any sort of fundraising or crowdfunding for Coppell ISD. Dress and grooming, it's just an expectation that we are able to wear jeans for an extended period of time right now, but just make sure that you always present yourself professionally. The other new addition to our staff handbook this year is the roles and responsibilities. Now that we have face-to-face and remote instruction, this has been added to our handbook. This is the same information that was shared by Dr. Applegate via email earlier in the year. However, if you need to see that information again, you can find it starting on page 38. Just again, reminder that we are an alcohol and drug-free environment, and Coppell ISD will not tolerate the use of alcohol and illegal drugs in the workplace or school-related or school-sanctioned activities on or off school property. And if by chance you are arrested, indicted, convicted enter a no contest or guilty plea or any other adjudication of any felony or any of the offenses bulleted below, you are to contact and notify your principal or immediate supervisor within 3 calendar days. There are certain crimes that are listed here, but also things that deal with moral turpitude. Last year, we all participated in additional professional learning on harassment, discrimination, and retaliation. This is just a reminder that employees who have believed they've been discriminated or retaliated against or harassed are encouraged to promptly report such incidents to the campus principal or supervisor. This is just outlining our responsibilities, just of being aware of the warning signs that could indicate a child may have been sexually abused or maltreated. So anyone who suspects it, there is a responsibility for us to report that to CPS. Safety, the district has developed and promotes a comprehensive program to ensure safety of employees, students, and visitors. We've even extended that through our COVID return to work guidelines and protocols, so you have that information. In addition, we look at standards of conduct. So all employees are expected to work together in a cooperative spirit to serve the best interest of the district and be courteous to students, one another, and the public. State law prohibits smoking, using tobacco products, or e-cigarettes on all district-owned property and at school-related or school-sanctioned events on or off school property. This is a very important section, so depending on the type of contract you have, please make sure you review page 49 so that you understand the terms and conditions of your contract. Probationary contract are for those nurses and full-time professional employees new to the district. You receive a 1-year probationary contract. For term contracts or for full-time professionals employed in positions requiring certification and nurses, and you would be on a term or a continuing contract for a term of 2 years. If you are unsure of what kind of contract you're on, please contact Human Resources so that you're aware. In addition, if you are employed based on a certification or license, it is your responsibility to make sure your certifications do not lapse. If you are in a year where you have to renew your certification, it's your responsibility to renew that certification and send your credentials to the Executive Director of Human Resources in a timely manner. Failure to have your certification could result in dismissal. Employees are subject to a review of their criminal history record and information at any time during employment. And again, the Coppell Independent School District does not discriminate against any employee or applicant for employment because of race, color, religion, sex, age, national origin, disability, military status, or any other basis prohibited by law. We are an equal opportunity employer. Just a reminder about outside tutoring and outside employment. If you are required to disclose to me in writing if you have any outside employment that may create a potential conflict of interest with your assigned duties, responsibilities, or the best interest of the district. And again, just email me that information if you are employed outside the district and it may be a potential conflict of interest. We just finished up our beginning of the year goal setting meeting. So this is the appraisal calendar for the year so that you're aware of when formal observations start and when no formal observations may occur. And then our timeline for conducting those in-person summative assessments and end-of-year conferences. You have the right after a formal observation to request a second appraiser This is the list of second appraisers for the 2021 school year. So you can request it, an educator may request a second appraisal by another appraiser after receiving a written observation summary with which the educator disagrees, or after receiving a written summative annual appraisal report for which the educator disagrees. Just make sure that you do that within 10 business days of receiving your written observation or written summative. Performance evaluation. All employees will participate in the evaluation process with their assigned supervisor at least annually. And then our professional learning framework. So these outline the expectations for you as far as professional learning hours and flex. So please make sure you read the column that applies to you. Our campus exempt employees, those are our 187-day employees, and then we have instructional paraprofessionals and non-instructional paraprofessionals. So please make sure you read through what applies to you. Again, that starts on page 59. Reassignments and transfers. Just know that all personnel in the district are subject to assignment and reassignment by the superintendent or designee when the superintendent determines that the assignment or reassignment is in the best interest of the district. Also, investigatory searches in the workplace, including accessing an employee's desk, file cabinets, work area to obtain information needed for usual business purposes, may occur when the employee is unavailable. Therefore, you are notified that you have no legitimate expectation of privacy in these places. The district reserves the right to conduct searches when there's reasonable cause to believe a search will uncover evidence of work-related misconduct. Next is just our guidelines on tutoring. The most important thing here is you may not tutor your own students for pay at any time, and no teacher should tutor a student for pay on any campus. So if you are doing outside tutoring for pay, it cannot be on school campus. You have to report it, but then also you can't tutor students that are in your class. This is just some guidelines on workload and work schedules. Professional and administrative employees are exempt from overtime. Paraprofessional and auxiliary employees will receive notification about your work hours, and you're not exempt from overtime. So it's important for all of our parishes to make sure that we're watching those comp hours. This is the work schedule for the 2021 school year so that you know your days worked and your schedule throughout the year. It is very important that your name and address information is accurate, so make sure that you go into Talent Ed Records and update any information. A reminder about purchasing. All purchases need to be approved. District will not reimburse employees or assume responsibility for purchases made without authorization. On page 69, we talk about leaves and absences. This is a very comprehensive policy, so please, starting on page 68, read through all the different types of leave. A lot of these things will be in conjunction or coordination with human resources. The only thing that's most applicable to the campus level is personal leave. So there's non-discretionary, personal leave, and discretionary. So non-discretionary is things like personal or family illness, an emergency, a death in a family, active military, and those things should be entered and treated in the same manner as state sick leave. For discretionary personal leave, it is something that can be scheduled. So just know that we're still, putting those things in SmartFind, but those will be granted on an individual basis, kind of considering the nature and timeliness of the request. We do expect that it's 2 weeks in advance, and approval on those leaves also depends on the impact that it will have on the campus. There are some days that you are not able to take discretionary personal leave, and those are outlined here, as well as the dates that apply to days that you cannot take discretionary personal leave. Bullying, just to make you aware, we do have a bullying protocol. Our counselors went over this at the beginning of the year, but we are required to report that, and we do investigate each claim. Termination of employment. This just goes into detail about probationary or term contracts can be dismissed during the school year according to the procedures outlined in the district policy. And the last thing we talk about is resignations. So, if you are a contract employee, you may resign your position without penalty at the end of the school year if written notice. At the end of the school year, if written notice is received at least 45 days before the first day of instruction of the following year. And in the spring, our Human Resources Department will email out this as a reminder with the specific date. A written notice of resignation should be addressed to the superintendent and submitted to the Department of Human Resources. Contract employees may resign at any other time only with the approval of the superintendent or board of trustees. Resignations without consent, like if you don't follow that 45-day rule, may result in disciplinary action by the State Board of Education. And non-contract employees may resign their position at any time with a written notice, and a 2 weeks notice is preferred. So that is your outline of the employee handbook for this school year. Please reach out to any campus administrator should you have any questions, and thank you for listening.